Welcome, everyone. It is Sunday, January 22nd, 2023. Where did January go? And this is the Morgellons Call of the Week. I'm Robin, the co-host. I'm thrilled to be here. This is such a privilege and such a wonderful community to be part of, where people really help one another and we get well. We share, and it happens every week. And the best part is that Richard Kuhns, the author of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites, is here every week with us. Richard has just released the 12th edition of his book because he has never stopped researching, never stopped learning. This community sends him information. He actually takes the time to look into it. And if it's valid and helpful, he adds it to his book. And on top of that, he answers questions through email. He is here to answer questions, and he has suffered along with us. He created the King Diet so he could get well. He's had Lyme disease, and he's had Morgellons, and he's had springtails, and he had mites, and he had I can never pronounce that. Parasites, internal parasites. But it's not just head knowledge, it's experiential truth. That's how I look at it, and he shares it unstintingly with us. So I would just like to welcome Richard Kuhns, the author of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you so much. Today's topic is about resolutions. What are your mixed feelings about resolutions, Robin?
I think I would much rather come up with an action plan than just a resolution. Resolutions are made to be broken. That's what I think. I mean, I don't know anyone who actually keeps their New Year's resolutions, but I make action plans, and I have daily tasks that lead me to complete those action plans, and sometimes they take a year, sometimes they take less, but I do them, and they're not resolutions. So that's my thought on it.
Did you make an action plan for the new year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the year that I have set up. As I'm in a different space right now because one of my computers is down. I'm in my bedroom, which is my home recording studio. So my first goal was to set up a recording studio in my home, and here I am. My second goal, last night I recorded with professional recording tools for the first time. I recorded guitar tracks. This year, I am going to release 10 songs that are all ready for sync licensing to movies and TV. And that means they have to have contracts with anyone who's worked on them. They have to have meta tags embedded in them. They have to be a certain format. It's a high learning curve, and I am committed to figuring it out, doing the work, and succeeding.
Great. How about your personal life? Any plans there?
No. I have no personal life. But my other goal, which is not a resolution but an ongoing goal, is to get my house clear of parasites so that I can live comfortably in my home. And I'm making progress on that goal. But if it was a resolution, I think I'd give up.
That seems to be a long-term challenge for you to get your house completely clear.
Yeah, the house is pretty bad. I mean, it did get completely clear. The problem was, I reinfested it that Christmas of 2020 or 2019 and didn't know it. It went months, and then I got sick and did nothing. I really did nothing for almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So my house is kind of in the state it's better than when I first found you and the book, but it's bad. And it's just, it took me a while to recognize it. You forget what it's like. And I'm not as affected by it, but it's in my home, and I don't want to affect other people.
I don't think people, particularly those who are on the call that are dramatically impacted by parasites, can grasp what you just said. You forget what it's like.
I know. Well, I totally forgot what it's like, and that's why my house is infested right now.
You forgot what it felt like to be affected by parasites.
Yeah, I wasn't itchy. I didn't have fights. I could go barefoot in my home, and then when I got sick, I just forgot. I forgot what it was like.
Yeah. So.
Recognize it. I forgot that these little black things I was seeing actually mean trouble.
Yeah, it's really hard for anyone to imagine that it's possible to get to that point, and it is totally possible to get to the point where you forget what it felt like. I mean, you will remember that you had a parasite infestation on your skin in your home, but you get to the point where you forget what it felt like. And life goes on, you're very normal, you're eating pretty much everything you want, and life is wonderful. And then it can happen pretty quickly, but usually if you are right there and catch that moment, you can quickly recuperate and get rid of them and maintain that. But it's when you delay because you forgot what it was like, and you're thinking, why, this is strange, I'm having these strange feelings, and then 2 days later you realize, parasite!
Yeah, but for me it was more like 2 years later. I was like, wow, I know what this is.
Oh, wow, you're a slow learner. I wouldn't share that.
Well, I mean, but I was dealing with serious illness and had a lot of brain fog.
Yeah, I know. COVID was no fun for you. You were pretty well wiped out.
Actually, five times.
Gosh.
So, and then it did get a lot better, but this summer, for the first time ever, when I first got Morgellons, I took everything and put it in big plastic bags because I thought it was like, something that would die in a plastic bag. And I threw everything in my 3-story garage. And then I left it there, and I never touched any of it.
Mm-hmm.
This summer, I started cleaning out my garage, and I got totally reinfested. I got rid of it, but my house got worse, and then the fall came, and everything came inside. So, it's been a battle, but the thing is, my garage is much better.
Yeah.
I'm making progress, like 1 step forward, maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but I'm determined to win the battle.
Now, I do want to say that, in my opinion, Robin has a more severe infestation, more resilient organisms than most of us have. So and I've learned a lot from Robin in the different things she's discovered along the way in getting her environment clear that I never had to deal with. For me, simply spraying ammonia was all that I ever required to do. I didn't have to do ozone. I didn't have to have an electrostatic sprayer. I didn't have to do, these. Yeah, I didn't have to do all that stuff. So Robin, fortunately, and
fortunately for you guys,
she came in the program and has shared a lot of information and is a tremendous co-host because she has experiences way outside of my norm and has been able to share them. Mary, how about your New Year's resolutions?
No, I haven't set any yet, but the beginning of the year is hard. The beginning of the year is really hard for me because of all the family members that I lost at Christmas and my husband's birthday right at the beginning of January. So, like the middle of December to the middle of January, it's just, I just don't get into a whole lot. So I'm getting to the point now where I'll be making some resolutions, but I haven't yet.
Okay. I often notice that years ago, part of my history is that I operated a stress management facility and worked as a therapist in a sense, or counselor or coach, however you want to look at it. And that oftentimes by people expecting, it's expected of them somehow. They get this idea that it is expected of them that you got a new year, you got to make resolutions. So they sit down and they make their list of resolutions. That itself is a little stressful to come up with the resolutions and make them concise, and then sticking with them and carrying them through can become even a lot more stressful. In that, I found that there's a guy called Tony Robbins. Most of you are familiar with him, I imagine. He's a guru in the self-help field. He's the guy who can teach you to walk on burning coals. He's that guy, and he built his whole career out of setting goals and achieving goals. And I commend anybody who can set a goal and achieve a goal in the manner in which they think it's going to be achieved, because I find that setting goals can be tremendously stressful. I feel life is more about the plans that fall through than it is about the plans that we make. Because you get on your path to achieving this goal, and then what happens? There's somebody passes away in a family, or a pet gets injured, or there's a sickness, and suddenly there are other things, and you're deviated, or always something unexpected, or some wrinkle shows up that wasn't planned on or expected, that takes you away from the path. And what that does is nothing more than create stress, and that you're not sticking to the plan. Although I do think, for particularly all of you here, is that if you are in this program and you have yet to start the diet, I'm now calling it the Morgellons diet, rather, aka the King diet, for some reason or other you haven't started it, it would be a good thing to make that as a plan to undertake within the next few days. I mean, I have had people share with me that it has taken them, they thought about it, then they think about it, then they wonder about it, then they then about it, then about it, then a couple of months pass by, and before they go to this treatment, or they try another treatment, or they go to another thing they find on Facebook, and thinking they're going to wiggle their way past the diet. Can you wiggle your way past the diet?
Not if you want to get well. You can do whatever you want, but if you want to get better, no.
I mean, you can luck out. I'm not saying there isn't a matter of luck out there. Because, Robin was talking before we started recording about trying this and trying that. And yes, there are people who have lucked into something and tried it, and it has gotten them back. And I understand that. But, you see, Morgellons is just not only Morgellons. I don't think there is one being out there who only has Morgellons. No. There's people who have the word that you have trouble pronouncing, strongyloides, serotonin. That's a cofactor. There are people with different fungi infections. That's a factor. There are people with Lyme disease, one of two different types of spirochetes, or maybe even more. That's a cofactor. There are people with simply different bacterial or viral infections that are, generally common. There are people, and that's a factor when you're dealing with Morgellons. There are people with intestinal parasites. I mean, you can have Strongyloides cervicalis, you can have intestinal parasites, you can have many of these issues, even Lyme disease, for years and not even know it or feel them until Morgellons. And then all hell breaks loose. Even rosebush disease, that's a specific fungal situation that responds to potassium iodide, supersaturated potassium iodide. So yes, suppose you have Morgellons and you have rose disease and you see a video that says super potassium iodide and you go try it and, wow, that stuff works, I found the cure. Oh, sure, for rose disease. And how many people have rose disease? I forget the name of the fungal organism. Well, maybe 3% of all the people who have Morgellons are dealing with this specific fungal issue with rose disease. Sure, okay. So the thing is the diet. I hate diets, and I love this diet because it gave me back my life. And countless people have gotten their lives back by using the King diet, now called the Morgellons diet. How does it work? Do you have any idea how it works, Robin? Why it makes a difference?
Personally, I think that it does a couple of things. I mean, these are just my opinions, but I think that because it lowers your sugar intake, it lowers your cortisol, and I think the parasites feed on that, number one. And number two, it boosts your immune system so your body can fight back better.
Okay. Well, you can boost your immune system by many different things, and still,
diet, it won't work.
And right, true. So
your immune system. I know people who think that's all they have to do, and it's been years and years and years, and they've never gotten better.
Right, they gamma globulin shots and all kinds of things to boost immune functioning. You can use all of our supplements in the store that are all about boosting immune functioning, and without the diet.
Because these are organisms that you have to kill some way or another, and there's something about the diet that starves them to death.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know if it starves them to death. I have no idea.
Or it makes you unattractive because you don't taste good anymore.
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Mary, do you have an idea about why the diet makes a difference?
I think it's just how our bodies process food, and it makes us, like Robin said, makes us smell like dinner. I've wondered about it too. It has something to do with pheromones, but I also believe, like you say, that it also has something to do with brain chemicals. So I just think there's a whole lot that we don't understand.
Right. I don't understand why it works either. It's experiential. There's no rhyme to it, no reason to it. I do know that when we do reduce dopamine uptake in the brain, we are less tasty to parasites, and that's why we have the Herbal Stop formula in the store to reduce dopamine uptake in the brain. So maybe somehow the foods on the diet are significant factors in helping reduce dopamine uptake in the brain. And those of us who have some difficulty making the diet work by adding the herbal supplement simply magnifies the benefit of the diet, and the diet starts working for them. Somehow it seems to put them asleep or put them into some kind of trance. The diet is not a cure. So because I don't want to make anything sound like I'm making a claim here, because really I'm just speculating. I'm just guessing. All I know is that the diet makes a difference, a significant difference. And that before you start the diet, the the FDA requires that I inform you that you're to discuss the diet with your doctor. And before you start accepting any of our recommendations, you are likewise to discuss them with your medical doctor to make sure they do not interfere with any health problems you're presently experiencing. The AMA is the organization that licenses physicians to practice medicine. We are not licensed. We have not gone through that rigorous training and education, so therefore we will not diagnose, treat, cure, or mitigate any disease. That's what physicians are for. We can educate you how to make the diet work for you, how to clean your environment, how to clean your skin, and how to build health and immune functioning through our targeted supplements that we have in their store. That's what we're allowed to do, and that's what I feel we do pretty well. Now, was there anyone who gave you the 4 numbers that wanted to share their resolutions? Yes, Robin, you wanted to say something?
One other thing. So I downloaded this chart, and what it is, it says goals for the year. You put in the year, and then it says top 5 goals. Be specific. What 5 steps do you need to take to achieve them? Set deadlines for the goals. What obstacles are in the way of achieving the goals? And what things can you do to overcome the obstacles? And so I filled out the whole sheet. And but I think that that's a great, I mean, anything you write down has a much higher chance of actually happening, in my opinion. So they have all kinds of little goal things. They're colorful, they're fun. And then they have, like, to go with the goal things, they have today. What are my goals today to meet my long-term goals? So just saying, I wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, thank you. It does definitely make a difference if you write things down. It certainly does. And it would certainly make a difference if we each had a crystal ball, because what's in the damn crystal ball is really going to help you a lot more than you can guess along the way. And it seems to me rather interesting that I don't know, but most of us by the end of the year, we look back and we say, I never want another damn year like that in my life. Many of us. You ever find that, your experience with that?
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad that year is over. I never want another one like it.
I've had years like that. I have.
Yeah. So that concludes this portion of the program.